All right, what is going on, guys? It's Darian, and today we're going to be chatting about why you need to chase mastery. And to be more specific, what I mean by chase mastery is particularly over yourself and over your craft. So, your skills, whatever you're pursuing, whatever you're doing to create value for the world. So, we're going to start with number one, which is mastery is the ultimate pursuit of self expression, fulfillment, and reaching your potential. I want to go through each of these one by one so we can really talk about it and you can actually understand what those mean and why they're important to you. So, for self expression, right? So many people go through their lives. I used to too, especially when I was young, like most kids, would go through my life and I would always feel like I had to maybe be somebody else, or I was afraid to really let myself show in certain situations, or I always had to, self censor essentially. And when you're pursuing mastery, the best part about it, okay, is nobody gets to tell you what to pursue mastery in. You get to choose whatever skills that you want to learn that actually pique your curiosity, right? Whatever job that you like, if you're watching this, chances are you're probably an entrepreneur. But even if you're not, whatever you're doing, whatever value you're creating and providing to the world, you want to, like, nobody is going to choose that for you. You can choose. And that's why it is the ultimate form of self expression because you get to choose it. You get to go deep and you get to express yourself fully in that. The second one is going to be fulfillment because as you start creating value for the world and for yourself, and you start mastering yourself, your skills, your interests, things of that nature, you are going to get the fulfillment, and that fulfillment is going to come from hopefully creating enough value for others. So, for example, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I started copywriting and I started just going deep and studying like copywriting, the psychology, the persuasion, all of that stuff. And then, I finally got to the point where I felt like I was ready to work with clients. And then I started helping clients and started growing their business. So, in a way, for me, starting to chase mastery in this thing, an upskill, I was able to create value for other businesses, right? And so that's where the fulfillment comes from helping other people. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole entrepreneur versus working a 9 to 5 thing in this, but when it is your business and it is the thing you're building and you're choosing, there's going to be a different sense of fulfillment that comes from that. Finally, we're going to talk about reaching your potential. All right. So, one of the biggest, scariest things that I always remind myself of is being like 70 years old and looking back on my life with regret, thinking I never capitalized on my gifts, my skills, my interests, and I never went all in. I never pursued something and I never tried to be great and excel and like reach excellence in something, right? And so that's what mastery does. When you make the commitment and you mentally prepare yourself and you mentally commit to chasing mastery, well, that is when you can truly reach your potential. You never have to look back on your life and feel regretful. Cool. All right. So now we're going to talk about number two, which is value creation. And in parentheses, I put heart's task. I'll explain what that means in a second. So, value creation. How do you create value for the world? How do you show up for the world? How do you create value for other people, improve the lives of other people through what you're pursuing mastery in, and obviously mastery over yourself, which is going to, create value for you in your own life. Your heart's task, essentially what that is it's the intersection between your talents, not even so much your talents, but your interests, your curiosity, and your skills. So what you're going to do is you're going to take those things and you're going to combine them and you're going to look at that. And that's what you're going to do, what you've always felt pulled to, generally since a kid. When we're all young, we all have things that we felt pulled to, things over other things. For some, it's like reading and writing. For some, it's sports. For some, whatever it is, right? For you, it could be different. But whatever that is, that's what I define as your heart's task, that thing that you felt pulled to until society started telling you, no, you have to go do this. You have to go to a 9 to 5. You have to go to school or whatever. And then you end up doing something that you don't even like doing. And you start losing these. You don't feel like you're expressing yourself fully. You're not fulfilled. You're not reaching your potential because you're not doing this. So that's number two. The third is going to be wealth. Of course, if you're creating value, you want to be rewarded for that. And so when I talk about wealth here, I'm not just talking about money, but we'll start with money because you want to become the best in what you're doing. Now, of course, you could break down the math and there's millions of people in the world doing what you're doing. How hard is it to be in the top 1%? Whatever. but you want to be considered in your circle or in your network the best at what you do. Okay. I'm not talking about having to be like the 0.001% in the world here for you to get wealthy. You just have to be better than people who are in your network, in your category. Okay. Now, there's a lot of debates on this about, you know, do the best get paid the most, or is it the best who are marketing or the best at marketing? So people who aren't very good at their craft, but they're good at marketing, do they make the most? An analogy I like to use, and you can look in your life and you can see that this is pretty universal. If you look at athletes, for example, you look at LeBron James, Steph Curry, right? Those basketball players, all the best players are the ones who make the most. Like, it's obvious, right? You can look in entrepreneurs as well. Typically, yes, there are some people who are very good at marketing who have like a bad product or whatever, or bad service, but you'll notice that typically all the best rise to the top. Look at Alex Hormozy, Tony Robbins, Alex Becker, Sam Ovens, whoever you want to look at, they're the best. Like, they're excellent at what they do and they make the most money. Fourth is going to be meaning equals progress. So why should you chase mastery and why you need to be? Because that's where you're going to derive meaning from in your life. Look at your, like, honestly, look at your life, look at your past, and look at the times where you felt the least amount of meaning, where you felt the most lost. You felt like your life didn't have any meaning. When you woke up in the morning, you weren't excited. Look at those times, and I can almost guarantee you, I bet money on it, that you weren't making progress in your life when you felt like you had no meaning. You weren't working towards something, you weren't building towards something. And that's what mastery does, right? It forces you to wake up and say, how can I get better today at my craft? How can I get better at, mastering myself today? Be more disciplined, let go of these bad habits, all of these things. So you're going to get a whole lot of meaning from progress towards mastery. Like, if that's not enough already, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But we're going to jump into number 5. And what does it actually take, right? Like, what does it take to become a master and chase mastery over yourself, over your life? Because, of course, all this sounds cool, but it's like, okay, well, what do I have to do, right? Well, first, you need to be obsessed. That's pretty obvious. But that obsession, the reason that's so important and the reason I covered your heart's task here is because it's going to be pretty damn easy for you to be obsessed over something that's already in alignment with what you're good at, your skills, what you're interested in and curious about. Okay. Passion, a lot of passion comes down here. Up here, it's literally just interest working towards your skill. You're going to get more passionate as you get better and better, but you need to be obsessed. And that's why it's so important to create value for the world around your skills, around things you're interested in. So that's first. You need to be obsessed because, like, I'm not going to lie to you and say that this is easy, right? It's going to take work. It's going to take hard work. And it's a lot easier to work at something you're obsessed about. The next one is going to be sacrifices. So you're going to have to be willing to sacrifice things. And you're going to have to sacrifice probably things that you don't want to sacrifice. So this could be like going out on the weekends and drinking. This could be, partying with your friends, kind of the same thing. This could be watching your favorite Netflix show every single night, staying up late, eating foods you don't like, things like that. You're going to have to make these sacrifices for you to do this, chase mastery, reach your potential, all of these things. The final one is going to be consistency, okay? You're going to have to do it day in and day out. It doesn't matter if you're obsessed and you sacrifice for one day and then you take 3 days off. You're never going to reach mastery in anything that you're doing, right? Definitely not over yourself, because this is mastery over yourself. Like, being consistent is discipline in its purest form. So you're going to need that. But consistency is going to be really, really important to round these other ones out. Because, like I said, it's cool if you're obsessed, but how long are you obsessed for? It's cool if you make sacrifices, but how long do you actually keep doing that? Well, that's where the consistency is going to bring that all together. So those are the 5 reasons why you need to be chasing mastery in your life, over yourself, over your craft, in anything that you care about. If you really want to see your life turn into things like, having the meaning, being able to express yourself fully, reaching your potential, not having that regret, reaching fulfillment, happiness, because you're going to help other people when you create value for them for something that you actually care about. That's going to give you fulfillment and also just the meaning for making the progress. So yeah, that's all I got for you today. I'll see you next video.